Men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them. They seem to be able to choose. We to be able to choose then. We were a society dying of too much choice. Little girls are cute and small only to adults. To one another they are not cute. They are life-sized. Another belief of mine, that everyone else my age is an adult, whereas I am merely in disguise. They wore blouses with buttons down the front that suggested the possibilities of the word undone. These women could be undone, or not. Nothing makes me more nervous than people who say, "It can happen here." Anything can happen anywhere, given the right circumstances. A man is just a woman's strategy for making other women. What is believed in society is not always the equivalent of what is true, but as regards to a woman's reputation, it amounts to the same thing. Ah man, why do you want all this attention? I can write poems for myself, make love to a doorknob if absolutely necessary. Nature is to zoos as God is to churches. They spend the first 3 years of school getting you to pretend stuff and then the rest of it marking you down if you did the same thing. We understand more than we know. There's something to be said for hunger. At least it lets you know you're still alive. These things sneak up on him for no reason. These flashes of irrational happiness. It's probably a vitamin deficiency. How much needless despair has been caused by a series of biological mismatches, a misalignment of the hormones and pheromones. After everything that's happened, how can the world still be so beautiful? Because it is. So this was the rest of his life. It felt like a party to which he'd been invited, but at an address he couldn't actually locate. Toast was a pointless invention from the Dark Ages. When any civilization is dust and ashes, he said, art is all that's left over. There is more than one kind of freedom, said Aunt Lydia. Freedom to and freedom from. In the days of anarchy, it was freedom to. Now you are being given freedom from. Don't underrate it. I am not your justification for existence. No mother is ever, completely, a child's idea of what a mother should be, and I suppose it works the other way around as well. You can only be jealous of someone who has something you think you ought to have yourself. I avoid looking down at my body, not so much because it's shameful or immodest, but because I don't want to see it. Nothing changes instantaneously. In a gradually heating bathtub, you'd be boiled to death before you knew it. There's always something to occupy the inquiring mind. As all historians know, the past is a great darkness and filled with echoes. How easy it is to invent a humanity for anyone at all. To want is to have a weakness. Waste not, want not. I am not being wasted. Why do I want? Whatever is silenced will clamor to be hard, though silently. Sanity is a valuable possession. I hoarded the way people once hoarded money. I save it, so I will have enough when the time comes. Hatred is clear, metallic, one-handed, unwavering, unlike love. Falling in love, we said. I fell for him. We were falling women. We believed in it. This downward motion, so lovely, like flying, and yet at the same time so dire, so extreme, so unlikely. If I love you, is that a fact or a weapon? This is how the girl who couldn't speak and the man who couldn't see fell in love. Neither of us says the word love, not once. It would be tempting fate. It would be romance, bad luck. Can I be blamed for wanting a real body to put my arms around? Without it, I too am disembodied. Old lovers go the way of old photographs, bleaching out gradually as in a slow bath of acid. The desire to be loved is the last illusion. Give it up and you will be free. Amazing how the heart clutches at anything familiar, whimpering, mine, mine. God is love, they once said, but we reverse that, and love, like heaven, was always just around the corner. We are survivors of each other. We have been shark to one another, but also lifeboat. Do back exercises. Pain is distracting. War is what happens when language fails. As a species, we're pathetic that way, imperfectly monogamous. You'd be surprised how quickly the mind goes soggy in the absence of other people. When I was young, I believed that non-fiction meant true. But you read a history written in, say, 1920 and a history of the same events written in 1995, and they're very different. In the spring, at the end of the day, you should smell like dirt. I wanted to forget the past, but it refused to forget me. It waited for sleep, then cornered me. I am nervous about dogmas of any kind, whether they be religious, political, or anti-religious. Knowing too much about other people puts you in their power. They have a claim on you. You are forced to understand their reasons for doing things, and then you are weakened. We thought we were running away from the grown-ups, and now we are the grown-ups. Once a story you've regarded as true has turned false, you begin suspecting all stories. Our heaven is their hell, said God. I like a balanced universe. The artist doesn't necessarily communicate. The artist evokes. It actually doesn't matter what I feel. What matters is how the art makes you feel. You aren't sick and unhappily alive and stuck with it. You don't believe the sky is falling until a chunk of it falls on you. In my dreams of this city, I am always lost. Optimism means better than reality. Pessimism means worse than reality. I'm a realist. A divorce is like an amputation. You survive it, but there's less of you. I'm not sure which is worse, intense feeling, or the absence of it. All writers feel struck by the limitations of language. There's the story, then there's the real story. Then there's the story of how the story came to be told. Then there's what you leave out of the story, which is part of the story too. Reading and writing, like everything else, improve with practice. Everyone writes in a way. That is, each person has a story, a personal narrative which is constantly being replayed, revised, taken apart, and put together again. All stories are about wolves, all worth repeating, that is. Anything else is sentimental drivel. I read for pleasure, and that is the moment I learn the most. Is that what writing amounts to? The voice your ghost would have, if it had a voice? You're never going to kill storytelling, because it's built into the human plan we come with. Perhaps I write for no one. Perhaps for the same person children are writing for when they scrawl their names in the snow. Paper isn't important. It's the words on them that are important. The significant points in this narrative change as a person ages. What may have been tragedy at 20 is seen as comedy or nostalgia at 40. If I waited for perfection, I would never write a word. Nobody died from lack of sex. It's lack of love we die from. For if the world treats you well, sir, you come to believe you are deserving of it. The small details of life often hide a great significance.